Hi, welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV where we discuss architectural and construction related topics. I'm AJAWI, and for today I want to ask you a very simple question, a question, right? How would you like to create generational wealth or even increase the value of your property by doing one simple little thing, right? In this video, that's what I'll be discussing with you. I'm going to show you how you can create value with your property by taking this simple little step. All right, so without any further ado, let's head into this video. Alright guys, welcome back. At this point, I would like for you to click the like, click the subscribe, click the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I make videos just like this one. So let's get into this particular topic. Alright guys, so in this video today I'm going to be discussing with you how you can create wealth or generational wealth with your property, and I think that this is a way that the rich does create wealth for their family. And as a matter of fact, rich people do not allow this to happen to them, right? Simply because they want to create generational wealth, or when they have a property, it's more of an investment for them. All right. This is based on my experience over the years and dealing with people within the construction industry. All right, so what is this thing? Firstly, if it is that you have a property, you do not want to be in a position where the building that you create on the property or you construct on the property is not approved, right? Rich people do not construct buildings on properties that has not been approved, right? They want to know that they are constructing, but they are constructing from a position of investment. They don't want to create a building that does not add value to them, right? They don't believe in tearing up money or making an investment that they cannot get a return on. All right, so in essence, it's about having a building approval whenever you are doing construction. Now it's from a flip side. It's from the position of you have bought a house and it does not have an approved building on it, and in fact there may be a breach, right? So how do you rectify this and put yourself in a position where you have a property that can give you a return? Once you have a property that has a building on it that has not been approved, then you can't really get the maximum value from that property, right? Because you cannot go to the bank and say, hey, I have this building and it's of X value, because it has not been approved. The bank does not want to hold on to a building that is not approved, and there is a chance that the council may say that there is a breach on the property, right? So in such a situation, what do you do, right? You can actually do a building application for the existing building, right? So in some cases, what will happen is the council themselves will reach out to you and say, hey, you have a building on the property that has not been approved, right? And in some cases they will tell you that they will be reviewing it for demolition, right? Or they will demolish the building because the building has not been approved. You have no approval for the building, right? So in such a case where you want to get this existing building approved, what do you need, right? And why would you do that? So why would you do that? Firstly, you would want to do that because you're now in a position where the bank, you want to go to the bank or approach the bank, and you want to ensure that there are no breaches on the property, right? Most of the times whenever people do construction without an approval, a couple of things happen. One, the building is done in such a way that is not well thought through because it wasn't planned properly, so the building becomes choppy, right? So it's not really flowing well, and as such you cannot get real value for it. Secondly, you may have built too close to the boundaries or did not observe the necessary covenants that are on the property or restrictions, right? So that's something to think about. All right, so what do you need in such a situation to rectify this? Now, if it is that you're in a position where you want to get a building approval, what I would say to you is you need to have the following documents in place. You need to have a surveyor's report. The surveyor's report will actually show you, okay, are the boundaries intact as it relates to how close the building is to those boundaries, right? And it will also tell you if there is a breach on the property, right? So let's say you have the building, right? There are no breaches. Let's say that is the situation first. You will also need an engineer's report, right? The engineer's report will tell if the building is sound, if there are no structural failures, if it was constructed properly, with it being structurally sound, right? So that's what the engineer's report is for. So in order to get a building that has already been constructed approved, you need to do an engineer's report, right? So that will be a set of document that you will need. So you need the surveyor's report and you need the engineer's report, right? Another document that you will need is the set of drawings of the existing building, right? In the situation where there are no breaches, then the technologist will come in and measure up everything that is on the property. He will take into account the position of the building, walls, openings, everything that should have been prepared and sent in initially. He will look for those things, right, and prepare them and put them together in a set of drawings, right? So he will pick up also electricals, the position of breakers, the position of the light fixtures and stuff like that, and he will represent that on his drawings. For different parish councils, there are different requirements because, for example, if you're going to be submitting to Portmore Parish Council, then they will ask that the technologist that is doing the drawing do it in a way that he is now really taking responsibility for that building, in the sense that he's preparing the drawings as if he's doing it for the first time. So he'll need to show structural information, he'll need to show a layout that works properly, right, and show if any walls that needs to be removed, you know, then he will have to show it in that manner. So he's doing it as if he's doing an initial building application, right, with all the necessary drawings intact. For different parish councils, as I say, they will require different things, right? If, however, on the other hand, there is a breach on the property, then the technologist will need to propose a fix, right? So say, for example, you're getting the approval, right, and you have breached the covenant. The thing is that he would prepare the drawing in such a way where that breach is rectified, right? So for example, if it is a situation where you built too close to the boundary, then he will have to propose that that section be removed, and it is now back in line with within the constraint of the covenant that is on the property, right? So that is something to consider. In some cases, those that have actually constructed without the approval, they will want to keep that, and they will try to get a retention of use, or they will try to modify the covenant because they don't want to lose the part of the building that they have constructed. And that is one of the things that is very, what you say, prevalent when it comes on to people that construct without an approval, and rich people don't do that. Once rich people are trying to construct or do construction, they want to know that when they invest this money, they will get a return on that money, right? So they don't want to be building and then they can't, sell it in a situation, or they can't get much value from it because there's a breach, right? The rich want to be in a position where the bank can look at their property and evaluate it and say, okay, we'll give you this amount of money because your property is, valued at this, right? So keep that in mind. What other documents will you need when you're going to get the approval for the existing building? You'll also need, if you see me looking down, I made some notes, so I may be glancing down from time to time to make sure, right? You'll need a tax certificate, right? You need a tax certificate as a part of the documents that you're submitting to the council. And the reason for this, they want to ensure that all the taxes on the property have been paid up. You cannot make a building application without having all the taxes on the property being cleared, right? If it is that you're overseas, because most of the people that I'm dealing with are overseas, you will need a letter of authorization. So you're not in Jamaica at the moment and you have bought a property and you found out that there's a breach on the property, or the building has not been constructed properly, right? At AJAWI Construction, what we do is we try to help those that are overseas get these things done so that they don't have to worry about it when they get back, right? And because they're not here, we don't want a situation where it's being held up, right? And so things can go on while you're not here, and things can be done. So you will need a letter of authorization from signed by a JP, or the Justice of the Peace, and that will indicate to the council that they are supposed to accept the building application from the technologist, and you are giving him consent to submit it on your behalf, right? You can also give a letter of authorization if it is that you want him to pick it up for you, right? So recently I did a building application for a client that is overseas, right? And they basically wrote the letter. They had somebody out here sign it on their behalf, or what was it? They are overseas. They have their JP out here, so the JP would sign it on their behalf. No, they would sign it over there, send it to their JP, and because the JP knows them, then the JP would stamp it and seal it and sign it, and then I would get it, right? And then I can then move from there now to submit it to the council on their behalf. And the same thing happened in the situation where they wanted me to collect it back for them and drop it off to a family member. So they in turn got it signed again and gave it back to me so that I could pick it up for them, right? So once you have all of these documents together, you have the surveyor's report, you have the engineer's report, right? You have the set of drawings that needs to be submitted, right? You have the tax certificate, you have the letter of authorization, you can then now put those together and submit it to the parish council, right? And they will accept in that situation. Now the council does have the power to reject any application that you make, but because you're now in a position where you're trying to rectify something that has already gone, they will more or likely be willing to look at your drawings and then review it and say, okay, if they are not going to accept it, they will tell you what to change or what to do in order for it to be acceptable, right? And then you can then make those changes and resubmit, and then you can get your building approved. How does this create generational wealth, right? When you have a building that is approved, it holds more value, right? Because at the end of the day, the bank, as I said, is now in a position where they can say, okay, you have a building that's approved, it is of X value, we will give you money or lend you money because you have a building that has been approved. You can have a mortgage on that property, you can use that as collateral. The generation that's coming, if they want to add on to it and they want to get a mortgage to do so, to improve the property, they're in a better position, right? Most of the times whenever people have properties that are not approved and there's a breach on it, once they approach the bank will say to them, get it approved, go to the parish council and do a submittal. So you as a potential homeowner, or you as somebody who owns a property, if you have constructed without an approval, it's not too late for you, right? You can actually take steps to get the existing structure approved by the parish council or the local authorities and be on your way to creating wealth and pass it on to your children, right? That's the number one thing that you have to do. Always think about that. Passing on that wealth to your children and creating generational wealth. All right, so I hope this video helps you. I hope it opens your eyes as it relates to that. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I make videos just like this one. You can always leave your comment in the comment section. Let me know if you like videos like these. Let me know what other types of videos you would like for me to create for you guys, because it's all about helping you guys create wealth and create a home that is valuable and is comfortable, well thought through, stuff like that. All right, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing. There are other videos, so go watch those as well, and I'll see you next time.